From Riverfront Coliseum on the banks of the Ohio in Cincinnati, a second-round Southeast Region encounter. The 5th-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide against the 4th-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels. Ohio State meets Connecticut later this afternoon. Alabama got here by virtue of a win over Stanford. North Carolina outlasted Miami of Ohio in a first-round game. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist. Welcome to Cincinnati. A really compelling second-round game. Alabama has not lost a second-round encounter under Wimp Sanderson. The North Carolina Tar Heels have been to the Sweet 16 in each of the last 11 years. So something has got to give. I'm joined by Len Elmore. Lenny, it strikes me we really have a contrast in styles, size against speed.
Well, that's certainly right, Vern. And if Alabama had their druthers, they'd throw the ball out on the floor and let their athletes just run up and down. Carolina, on the other hand, they've got to use some discretion. They've got a 7-foot sophomore center by the name of Eric Montross, who had a monster evening Thursday night against Miami of Ohio. 22 points, 13 rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds. They're going to have to control the tempo and get him involved because he makes a great difference.
Well, in addition to the contrast in styles, there are some fascinating matchups that we can look forward to. One of them we anticipate, and that is Hubert Davis guarded by Latrell Sprewell.
Well, Hubert Davis didn't have a Hubert Davis type night Thursday night. Shot 2 for 17 from the field. But if he gets hot, well, actually, when he gets hot, Latrell Sprewell will probably see some action against him. Sprewell is probably one of the best kept defensive secrets in the country. He's done a great job against some prolific scorers throughout the nation.
And in addition, he had a big game offensively the other night with 23 points, including 5 of 10 from three-point range. There's also the matter of pride between these two. I think Wimp Sanderson feels like his Alabama team not really appreciating.
Well, both teams kind of play it down a little bit. Wimp Sanderson very low-key, but I think the players recognize, again, that the last game was played, and Alabama would like to come out with some revenge. They lost the last time these two teams met.
Lineups for the two teams look like this. First of all, for the Crimson Tide, Sprewell, number 42, Robert Horry, Cedric Moore at center, Elliot Washington and James Robinson in the backcourt. For the North Carolina Tar Heels, George Lynch is joined by Byron Reese, Montross at center, then Hubert Davis, 2 for 17 from the field in the first-round game, and Derek Phelps in the backcourt. The officials for this second-round game, Ted Valentine of Westlake, Ohio, Tommy Lopes of Hazlet, New Jersey, and David Hall of Lakewood, Colorado. Riverfront Coliseum seats 16,000. Every ticket has been sold. Eric Montross from nearby Indianapolis. Maybe his best game of the season in round 1. It's controlled by Derek Phelps. Reese tipped out. Hubert Davis, first shot of the day. Nice start for him.
Well, Carolina came down and really took the first good shot that they had. You know, we talked about them having to control the tempo. That doesn't mean that they'll slow it down per se, but they certainly don't want to get into a running match.
James Robinson, who had a big first half in game 1, then cooled down considerably, but Sprewell and Horry picked up the pace in their win over Stanford. Here's Robinson for 3, short. Phelps with the rebound. Carolina in transition. Lynch can't hang on. First turnover for the Tar Heels. Wimp Sanderson winning his coach in Alabama history. He has now been involved in more than half of the games Alabama has played and more than half of the wins.
And that's got to be a good luck jacket that Wimp is wearing.
That's right.
The only reason.
Sprewell off the glass. Montross rebound. Phelps picked up by Washington, and it is Sprewell on Hubert Davis. Phelps on Washington. Robinson guards Reese. Nice pass. Derek Phelps off the glass, 4-0. Carolina up.
Well, you see the effects of the attention Montross gets. He crosses the lane and no one turns to pick up the penetration. They're too busy following him.
Alabama comes in with 26 wins, 8 defeats for the year. And again, the shot won't go, but the follow by Robinson up and off the glass. 2. Alabama not nearly as deep as is North Carolina. They played only 7 men, and they are missing Andre Perry, who was hurt in the SEC tournament. He's out with a broken foot. That hampers them rebounding. Montross, harassed by Ori, and the shot falls short.
Ori got a piece of Montross's arm, but no call on that one.
Cedric Moore. Montross for the foul. Dean Smith in his 31st year as the head coach at North Carolina. Became the winningest coach in NCAA basketball tournament history the other night. His 48th victory in Game 1. That broke a tie that he held with John Wooden. But as Dean said, Coach Wooden still has a better percentage.
Well, that's typical Dean Smith, downplaying his many accomplishments. One of the other things he downplayed yesterday is the fact that his team does have the size advantage. I mean, he talked about Eric Montross being the only player of size in his lineup, but the fact is he's got another 7-footer on the bench in Kevin Salvadori, and when Montross goes out, Salvadori usually comes in. How many coaches in America would like to have one 7-footer replaced by another who's the leading shot blocker in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
All of them. Pressure paid. These two teams had home and home meeting in 89 and 90. Alabama won at home. George Lynch had 20 for North Carolina. North Carolina won last year, 95-79. Robert Ory a part of that. Here's Sprewell for 3. No. Phelps with the rebound for North Carolina. A 4-4 ball game. Rodel is in off the bench. Turnover. That's 3 for North Carolina.
Well, what Alabama's doing right now is starting to apply some pressure. They want to make sure that Carolina starts to play at their pace.
Henrik Rodel, number 5, who started the first round game in place of Reese, is in his spot right now. 17:10 to go first half. 4-4 ball game. Cedric Moore doesn't get the roll. Montross gets the rebound.
But Moore's going to get a lot of those shots. If he's at the top of the key, Montross is not going to come out on him. It's going to be imperative for Moore to make a few of those.
Lynch backs in, turns around. No. Davis, second shot, 2 for 2. So he has now equaled the number of baskets he had from the floor in Game 1. Hubert Davis had been on a terrific tear until that game. Here's the answer from Washington. Pushing
the ball up. Alabama, after scores and on rebounds, that's what they want to do. Beat the Carolina defense down the floor.
1 point Alabama edge, 7-6. Montross. They double down. Davis, Sprewell comes flying. He's 2 for 3 now. Montross. Nice soft left-handed shot.
That's just a good job by Carolina of being patient after the offensive rebound, having their guys set up on the blocks. And really, I don't think any Alabama player is going to be able to stop him, provided Eric Montross is on.
Robinson. Lynch and Davis both in his face. Now Lynch goes back to help on Ori.
Right now, Carolina's in a 1-3-1. 3 guys across the dotted line. 1 guy back and 1 guy at the top of the point playing his zone.
Lynch went for the steal. Ori contains the ball, then gets the follow. And takes the shot. They got Derek Phelps away from the ball. Pat Sullivan getting ready to make an entrance into the lineup for North Carolina. Time has been called.
A lot of women find my looks intimidating. Do you?
My mother makes the best brisket.
There I was in the Congo.
Why is a good man so hard to find?
Basketball history at North Carolina. What do we make of the men from Plaid, Winfrey, Wimp Sanderson, whose glares and incredible faces have been a part of Alabama basketball, as you pointed out, for more than half the games they've ever played? Now in Tuscaloosa, you can get Wimp masks and Wimp boxer shorts and have Wimp look-alike contests. And there's even a Wimp rap song. And you don't even have to wear plaid to sing it. Back to you, Vern.
And you won't. 8-7 Carolina leads. Loose ball. Ori picks it up. Pat Sullivan has come onto the court now for North Carolina. And Sullivan is involved in a battle away from the ball. That's a shot at Henrik Rudel, who is going to go out now. Byron Reese takes his spot. I want to advise some of you who are waiting for the start of the Missouri-Seton Hall game that will be going down to Greensboro. And you will see the tip of that game. It's scheduled to start at 42 after the hour. 8-7 North Carolina. And this time they get Montross. And that's his second foul.
Well, against this 1-3-1 zone, what Alabama's doing is setting up 2 guys on the blocks with 3 men around the perimeter, and they're just trying to spread the zone so there's plenty of room to get the defensive player behind the guy on the block and feed him.
Underneath the Moore, can't control it, into the hands of Reese. Carolina a 1-point lead, but they have 14 fouls here early in the ball game. Reese guarded by Robinson underneath the Montross. There it is. That's going to be a killer.
If you can't get in front of him and deny the ball and put good pressure on the passer, you're right. That's a killer.
Montross with 4, but playing with 2 fouls early on. Here's Ori, who can't control it. Montross with the loose ball. Sullivan, 2 more. 5-point North Carolina lead. At the other end of the court, Robert Ori gets up, or tries to get up. He is injured. Holding his left ankle.
Have a chance to see as Robert Ori tried to save that ball and did save it, and he grabs his left ankle.
Well, Ori is now up, but in obvious pain.
From another angle, we'll see him come down, and you see the left ankle turn.
Which serves to reemphasize the point we made earlier, Len, that Alabama is not a deep ball club.
And certainly the loss of Andre Perry, who's had a broken foot. Yeah, he's one of the best offensive rebounders. He normally would come in the game at this point in time.
Jason Cappy is in the lineup now. Number 35, a freshman from Mobile, Alabama, replacing Robert Ori. A 5-point North Carolina lead. Back it comes to Elliott Washington. Salvadori is in the lineup. He's guarding Cedric Moore. Kevin Salvadori of North Carolina. That's a nice play by George Lynch. And Washington almost gets the ball back. Oh, it went off of Derek Phelps' foot.
That's what the officials say.
We talked about Andre Perry out with an injured, a broken left foot, and Robert Ori is up now trying to walk it off, run it off.
Perry represents 10 points and 6 rebounds off the bench. And that's a big loss for Alabama. What Alabama has to do right now is snap their passes. They're lobbing it and making it too easy for the Carolina defenders to get to them.
There's a nice pass from Sprewell to Jason Cappy for 2. 12-9. 13-20 to go. First half, Ori getting ready to re-enter the ball game. Alabama cold from the field early on. North Carolina shot 39%, a season low in their win over Miami of Ohio. Here's Hubert Davis. And he's now 3 for 4. As we said, Davis was on a torrid streak for 8 games until he hit the ice the other night when he was 2 for 17. Sprewell for 3.
We're talking about Hubert Davis. This is the kind of guy who's got the shooter's mentality. He's not worried about his confidence.
Off of George Lynch. Ori comes back in for Alabama. So does Henrik Rudel. Cedric Moore is going to get the rest. There's the turnover off.
Tough price to pay for George Lynch in the hustle trying to save the ball. Hits the ground pretty hard.
Obviously nothing serious for Robert Ori, who turned his ankle. He is now back in the lineup. Set him for you. It's Washington, Robinson, Ori, Cappy, and Sprewell for Alabama. There's Ori. Got it.
One thing about the 1-3-1 zone is that if you spread the floor, you've got a lot of guys trying to cover an awful lot of area, and there are a lot of seams in which you can pass, like the one Horry shot.
6 turnovers for North Carolina. That's just a mental lapse. This is game 1 in the second round here. Later on this afternoon, Ohio State and Connecticut, they are all trying to get to Lexington, the Southeast Regional. In Atlanta tomorrow, Michigan meets East Tennessee State. What a win for them last night.
Talk about the matchup of size versus quickness. That's a great example of how quickness does wonders for you. East Tennessee State utilizing theirs against the big Arizona team.
Salvadori with the altered shot. 14-14 ball game under 12 minutes to go first half. Here's Lynch. Salvadori. Montross resting with 2 fouls. Davis knocked away by Cappy. Goaltending. That was close. Time has been called.
The trucks you can depend on. The trucks that last. Now it's easy to own a Chevy truck.
Hit Pizza Hut for a supreme pizza loaded with 6 delicious toppings like mouth-watering pepperoni, mushrooms, and green peppers. Right now, get a medium supreme for $7.99 and any other medium for just $4 more.
Get Pizza Hut tonight.
Red Devil enamel.
Pass. Here's an interesting graphic. Time of possession. Alabama holding it longer than North Carolina.
Well, Vern, that has a lot to do with the changing defenses of Carolina. They go from a man to a 1-3-1, and it's forced Alabama to sit there and try and recognize what defense is being played. And that's hurt their shooting percentage for sure.
Jason Cappy working hard for the shot. Montross back in, and he is a force down low. Foul on Cappy.
When Sanderson asking where's the foul on that play, he thought it was a pretty good deny.
Set the lineup for North Carolina. Lynch, Montross, Rodel, Hubert Davis, and Derek Phelps on the court right now.
You talk about the time of possession. By contrast, Carolina's been able to move the ball and get some open shots quickly, and especially when Montross sets up, they look at him right away.
Out of the corner. Sprewell with the rebound. Here's Washington pushing it up. Robinson, second leading scorer in a single season in history for Alabama. Just under 700 points this year. Oh, where that came from? Not at all sure. Nearing the midway point of the first half. Montross, lefty. Coming down in the hands of Robert Horry.
See how quickly Carolina found Montross. When a guy's on his back, they're going to him.
Cappy, nice move.
And when he's on someone's back, they're going to him for Alabama.
16-16. The 26-8 Alabama Crimson Tide. The 22-9 North Carolina Tar Heels. Over to Hubert Davis. Sam Sprewell again guards him. Montross turned it over. This is a North Carolina team that averages 16 turnovers per game, and that's the 7th of the first 10 minutes.
Well, right here, you see Eric Montross staying in the paint, waiting to set up. Look how deep he gets in, and then he gives up the room. It's a bad pass, but he certainly got position where he wanted.
Tied at 16. Cappy, good strong move. But the shot was too strong as well. Rebound North Carolina. Here's Phelps. Lynch rejected by Robert Horry. He's the all-time shot blocker in a single season for Alabama. Here's Robinson. Nice adjustment. Wow.
Well, one of the things Wim Sanderson wanted to do is get James Robinson under control. Hollywood is used to taking off on his own, but he's played under control and done some nice things for Alabama.
Well, that was a great example. Here's a foul.
Take a look once again. Now, in earlier situations, James Robinson would have been the type to go one-on-one here and get the shot, but now he's looking for his teammates. Very nice move. He's become the decoy to draw the defenses.
Hubert Davis is going to get a rest. Alabama led by Robert Horry. You saw the graphic. They have altered a few shots. Washington knocks it out of Reese's hands. Hubert Davis getting a rest. So Montross, Reese, Phelps, Robel, and Lynch, North Carolina. 9:12 to go. First half of play. 18-16 Alabama. Offensive foul. That's 3 on Montross.
Well, you have size, but the quickness in getting good position defensively, playing defense with your feet, that's what made Robert Horry successful this time against Montross. The little shoulder bump. You know, from a big man's perspective, that's not a bad play to give that little bump before you go up. But obviously the official on the baseline thought it was too much.
So Dean Smith goes immediately to Kevin Salvadori.
And this is the point I was making before. With a 7-footer going on the bench, you bring in another who's more defense-oriented. The problem is right now with the guys on the floor, it's going to be difficult for Carolina to generate some half-court offense. The 2 threats, Davis and Montrose, are on the bench.
8:47 to go first half. Washington inbounds. Horry, Cedric Moore. No roll. Loose ball. Robert Horry for Alabama. Robinson and Reese almost got it. It's off of Alabama. It'll be North Carolina the inbound. What happens to North Carolina now as they come up the court land offensively with Salvadori from Montross?
Well, they're going to try, unless when they get these breakaways and Alabama falls asleep. What I look for them to do is try to get into a passing game now. They're noted for passing, moving without the ball. Here they got a break here. Alabama falls asleep defensively and they beat them down court. But look for Carolina to move the ball, constant movement without the ball by the players, looking for someone to get a layup or a wide open jump shot. No one-on-one play and no banging it down into the post.
Tied at 18. Sprewell short. And this foul's on James Robinson, number 31 for Alabama.
Alabama foul number 31, James Robinson.
I'll tell you what Carolina's done is played great defense in the last couple of games, and that's been part of their success.
Like a rock. Every Chevy S10 Blazer gives you the security of 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, standard, which helps you steer through.
The Crimson Tide and Tar Heels tied in the first half. Jim Nance and Billy Packer and Mike Francesa back in New York. And right now, let's sneak a peek over at Missouri and Seton Hall, Billy Packer. And that's Missouri in the gold uniforms with an 11-8 lead, 15:20 to go in the first half.
Jim, one thing has been noticeable to me in this particular game, and that is the fact that Missouri seems to be quicker at each position. Now, Seton Hall going to a little zone to maybe take some advantage of that, because Missouri has been able to penetrate and get inside with their quickness. And there, the zone worked out for them first time down the floor.
Jim, I think Billy hit it right on the head. Missouri is getting really any shot they wanted early in the game. Seton Hall had hit a couple of quick threes. They are very dangerous from the perimeter. Norm Stewart has talked about that, trying to stop them on the perimeter, but that's it. And they did go to this 1-3-1, which they like to utilize basically a man team, Seton Hall.
I think that last fast break really typifies Seton Hall. Brian Caver set up Walker for an easy bucket, but earlier we saw Caver turn it over a few times while trying to penetrate.
Well, he makes some unusual decisions. Maybe he is a little bit too talented for his decision-making process. The other thing that I think is interesting, John Leahy in the game, and what that will do is extend that Missouri defense a little bit and allow Jerry Walker to operate in the low post, as he is so tough down inside.
All right, we'll get another look at this game at halftime. But, Mike, what do you think of Bama and Carolina so far?
Well, I think the big key, Montross on the bench with 3 fouls. That's going to be key to watch his scoring. He did a great job against Miami of Ohio. Adam Keefe did a nice job getting inside Billy on Alabama in the other day, so you figured Montross could do the same thing. He has those 3 fouls.
Right, and he started off looking almost like Keefe. Of course, not the overall player that Keefe is, but they were getting it down inside. He was overpowering Alabama. North Carolina using a lot of their 1-3-1 point zone in this particular game, trying to cut down some of that great perimeter shooting that Alabama has. So far, the Alabama quickness has not taken over the game.
Let's get it back out courtside to Vernon Linney.
Okay, Jim, you saw Robert Horry score, and that broke the tie. It's 20-18. Montross went out with 9:05 to go in the first half. Might be a key point in this ball game. He went out with 3 fouls. From the corner, Robinson, no. Chased down by Hubert Davis, who's back in the lineup for North Carolina. 1-on-3, but he goes all the way, and the foul is called on Elliot Washington.
Hey, what the changing defenses has done, the changing defenses of Carolina, again, it's forced Alabama to think about what they wanted to do offensively, and their quickness, their ability to get to the board, to beat you off the dribble, all that stuff has hurt them. And you see Carolina has probably found a formula. Last 6 regular season games, those aren't winning numbers, but in the ACC tournament as well as the NCAA tournament, they have found a way to force teams to really think about what they're doing, and in that way they control the tempo of the basketball game.
Pat Sullivan back in the lineup for North Carolina. Darby Rich has come on the floor for Alabama, and Hubert Davis is at the line. That's 12 in a row now in the tournament. He hit 11 of 11 the other night, Davis did. And he has a chance to become the all-time free throw leader in tournament play. He's hitting about 94%, and he's now got 13 in a row in this year's tournament. That's overall for a career. The leader is LeBradford Smith of Louisville, who was at 95.4%. 20-20, 6:08 to go in the first half. Robinson and Washington join Horry, Darby Rich, and Cedric Moore from Alabama. Robinson, and the rebound in the hands of Derek Phelps. 5:50 to go first half. Phelps, nice move. Washington comes down with it. Quickly out to Robinson. Back to Rich. All the way short. And here comes Carolina at the other end. They do not have the numbers. It's 2-on-3. Sullivan decides the better of it. Hubert Davis from Darby Rich guarding him. Or he gets the rebound. Horry for 3.
See, Alabama's not exhibiting any patience. At one time, they have difficulty recognizing the defense. Another, they put up a quick shot.
How about the play by Hollywood Robinson? That's 10 North Carolina turnovers, but that one certainly not self-induced. A marvelous play by James Robinson.
Now Carolina back in the zone. Well, actually, they're not back in the zone. They've been sagging a little bit.
Darby Rich has had problems controlling the ball since he came in. That's his 3rd fumble. He doesn't play all that much, or hasn't in his career.
Well, if it can be done on the floor in a physical sense, this Alabama team can do it. They've got guys who are just so skilled from a physical standpoint.
Of course, this is the first of 2 games here in Cincinnati. Later this afternoon, we'll have Connecticut, Ohio State. What a game we look forward to. Elsewhere, Memphis State, Arkansas, Georgetown, Florida State. Wenstrom has come in the lineup, the 3rd 7-footer for Dean Smith. So Wenstrom is in now, number 55.
That just further emphasizes the size advantage.
What size advantage?
If you leave it to this man,
Dean says we don't have a size advantage.
But 3 7-footers, I mean, that are capable of playing. Matt Wenstrom doesn't get a lot of time, but obviously he comes in right away and contributes.
Wenstrom at the free throw line now. Show you how little he plays. That's 6 of 10 for the year from the free throw line for Wenstrom. Eric Montross, he went out with 9:05 to go in the first half of play. Jason Caffey back in now for Alabama, replacing Elliot Washington.
And this is a situation where Carolina, again, with the changing defenses, they've gotten Alabama to think. You know, they're a team that likes to react and respond rather than think about what they're doing, and now they've gotten so impatient on the offensive end, not really able to figure out what defense Carolina's in. And frankly, there were a couple times when I was a little confused. You got to send somebody through before I can recognize it.
See the turnovers, 10 already, and averaging 16 for the year. Now with Washington on the bench, Robinson goes to the point. Here's a 3-on-1 break. Beautiful pass from Phelps to Rodel. Terrific pass.
It's a great fast break by Carolina, and that really points up the fact that Alabama's taking quick shots because they don't have the floor covered. Normally you'll have one, maybe two guys back defensively to protect against the break.
Well, this is not, now here's the turnover for Alabama. Phelps has it knocked away, and he gets it right back. 3:45 to go in the first half. Not exactly what we expected in terms of style of play.
We built this business.
I hit the brakes. You know, they're anti-lock brakes. It was close, but we stopped in time.
Built this business.
Every year they
3:45 remaining. North Carolina leads by 3. Their biggest man, Eric Montross, went to the bench with his third foul with 9:05 to go in the first half. But Carolina does have a 3-point lead.
Well, Vern, it's been a case of Carolina changing the defenses, keeping Alabama off balance. They never look comfortable on offense.
And here's another turnover. That's 7 now for Alabama. Most of them in the last 3 minutes. It's Rodel and Lynch, Phelps, Davis. Nice cut. Pass from the shot. Rodel. Harris by Jason Cappy. And Elliot Washington stays on the bench for Alabama, which means they do not have a point guard on the floor. Robinson will try that spot. Here's Salvadori short. Chases down the loose ball. 23-20. Rodel back to Lynch. Got a 5-point lead that equals the largest of the first half for North Carolina.
Again, good ball movement, good movement without the ball in that Carolina passing game.
Now here's Robinson, and again, Elliot Washington on the bench. The point guard. Underneath, Cedric Moore fouled. Wenstrom got it. Or Salvadori, rather.
Now, that was a good play. That was one of the better plays offensively that Alabama's been able to run. The problem is they're pounding the ball and they're looking and they're guessing as to how the defense is being played, and they just don't look comfortable. They're not flowing. One of the reasons is this is their natural point guard, Elliot Washington, who kind of played his way into the starting job over the course of the season. Alabama really struggled with finding a guy who was going to be able to lead the team, recognize defenses, and make them smoother offensively.
Cedric Moore, the freshman, goes to the free throw line. 6'9", 210-pounder from Birmingham. Thus far, Montross and Washington both with 3 fouls. Horry has 6 points and 5 rebounds. Turnovers have been a very significant part of the first half. Cedric Moore gets 1 of 2, and that cuts the lead to 4. There's the trap. Phelps. Cappy with a rebound. Quickly out to Robinson. North Carolina, good job of getting back defensively.
They've prevented Alabama from making this a full-court basketball game. Carolina runs when they want to run.
Robinson has to alter the shot. Moore with a putback is fouled. Salvadori, or is it Rodel? It's Rodel. And that's his first.
North Carolina foul number 5.
See Paul with a 10-point edge. That's a 4 versus a 5 again. A lot of comparisons between this Alabama and North Carolina teams. Of course, they're geographically adjacent in conferences, ACC and Southeast. Both made it to their tournament finals, and both were blown out in their tournament finals. North Carolina by Duke and Alabama by Kentucky. And they both won their first-round games here by 5 points. Moore back at the free throw line. Eric Montross, 22 points and 13 rebounds in the first game, 4 points and 3 fouls in the first half in this one. Cedric Moore, 2 for 2. The lead is 2.
Derek Phelps looked like he got away with a shuffle of the feet right in front of Wim Sanderson, who jumps up. Makes his complaint known.
On the baseline. Oh, what a dandy shot by Hubert Davis.
Somebody better come back and help Alabama out.
Robinson trying to draw the foul from Phelps. Well, tip for tap. He got away with one. Nice shot by Horry.
That was a nice shot, but it was a force. Once again, off balance is the Alabama offense.
That's 12 North Carolina turnovers. Unexpectedly sloppy play.
Well, we talked about a scorer's mentality. This is a guy who shot 2 for 17 the other day. You'd think that would affect his confidence. But Hubert Davis is a great one.
We'll go back to Mike, Billy, and Jim at halftime in our New York studios. NCAA tournament underway, and this is early in the day of this quadruple header day. Earlier, you saw Duke demolish Iowa. Seton Hall having its way with Missouri right now, and we've got a close one, 27-25. Meanwhile, later in Milwaukee, in the Midwest region, Memphis State and a rematch with Arkansas. By the way, this Alabama team handed Arkansas 2 of its defeats this year, including that thrilling game in the SEC tournament. Davis, Sprewell. There's the double down on Lynch, but he goes around and puts up the jump hook.
And uncharacteristically, defensively, Alabama's not putting hands up on some of these shots. They've got their hands at their side. And Carolina shooters, they've got a clear vision to the basket.
What's the key to the first half for North Carolina? Defense?
It's certainly defense, and that's been the key for them over the last 4 games. They've been changing defenses, and look, Alabama, they've been bouncing the ball. They don't know who to get it to, who's going to start the offense. And they've had trouble recognizing what they can and can't do.
Horry, that shot may have been forced as well. Davis for 3. Lynch. Oh, my! What a punctuation point to the first half. Wimp is not happy with Robert Horry. Well, now I guess they're okay.
I'll tell you, George Lynch actually had more time than he thought. That was more or less a fourth, the last second prayer, and there were about 2.5 seconds left on the clock. But you see the reaction. A good omen if you're a Carolina fan.
That's the end of the first half with our score, Carolina 31, Alabama 25. CBS exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship continues after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the second round of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by ITT Corporation, building people's dreams. Intel, the computer inside. And by Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop.
Go, Todd! Here we go!
And Missouri in the East.
And welcome to Greensboro. A 4-point lead for Seton Hall. The Pirates led by as many as 10, but Missouri has run off 6 unanswered points to cut the lead to 4 points.
Seton Hall's bench has really produced in this basketball game. Mel Leahy coming off the bench to hit 3 3-pointers that keep Seton Hall to an early lead. Missouri making a run because they've been able to create a transition game. When Seton Hall plays in the half court, they've been dominant.
Terry DeHare on the drive. Gordon Winchester scores on the follow. And the lead is 6. Missouri has Anthony Peeler and Melvin Booker in the backcourt with Jeff Warren, Jamal Coleman, and Javon Crudup on the front line. Peeler forces up a shot and hits it. He's really had to work hard to even get off shots to the defense of Gordon Winchester, but he's beginning to score. He has 7 points now.
If you're Winchester, you're not going to hold a great scorer like Peeler down the entire basketball game. You've got to make him work hard for everything he gets. Seton Hall content to set it up and attack, and they've been getting good shots.
So much for patience. Chambers jacks up a 3-pointer. Peeler. This is the short jumper. And a foul against Seton Hall. I beg your pardon, it's on Jeff Warren of Missouri. Seton Hall made their first 6 3-point shots. And as Dan mentioned, Missouri is not a very deep team. They only go 6 or 7 players to their bench, and that could prove to be the difference. Seton Hall may be able to wear them down.
certainly Seton Hall's gotten more offensive production from their bench.
DeHare squares up, misses a three. Jeff Warren clears it out to Peeler. DeHare ran up behind him, and that's a player control foul on Peeler.
That's a great job by DeHare to step in position and draw the charge.
Duke led Iowa by 24 and then saw the Hawkeyes make a second half run that moved them to within 8 points, but Duke held on to win it. They await the winner of the Missouri-Seton Hall game next week in Philadelphia. Second foul on Anthony Peeler.
And Missouri certainly can't play very effectively without Anthony Peeler. He's the key.
Seton Hall has Caver, DeHare, Karnisovas, Leahy, and Winchester on the floor.
Missouri's also picked up its half-court defensive pressure. Early in the game, Seton Hall was getting wide-open shots. That hasn't been the case the last 2 minutes.
Good fake by DeHare, the dish to Caver, and a three-pointer.
Okay, so that has 1:44 to go in the first half. Seton Hall leading by 4. Karnisovas called on the foul. And Mike, you've been watching this game closely. P.J. Carlesimo's team has been excellent in the tournament the recent years. What about this one today?
You know, Jimmy, this Seton Hall team, we've talked about them being a year away, and at times they're very inconsistent. Up 10 earlier, as you talked about. And then, Billy, the thing I saw is from DeHare, who's their go-to guy, and at Caver, with Caver, their point guard, some inconsistency and some bad shot selection. They looked to force it a little too much and really took some bad shots, let Missouri get back in the ballgame.
Well, you know, Leahy came in and got the shots out of the offense, the three-point shots, because everything was they were trying to stop things inside. Leahy opened it up. And then DeHare just picked up with that, Mike, and I think took them completely out of sync. They were playing well in their half-court set, and he took some bad decisions, I think, in regard to the shots that he put up. He can get better shots out of the offensive set.
The thing with DeHare is this. He is their go-to guy. He won the game the other day against LaSalle. You see him right there, number 24 with the ball. He's their big player. He knows that, but a lot of times, Billy, when he gets a hot hand in games, he will then try to just take over completely and just shoot anything he sees.
We'll keep you posted on this game, but we're nearing the start of the second half for North Carolina and Alabama. And Peeler slams that one down to cut it to 1. And Hubert Davis with a big first half. We kind of expected that after the off day on Thursday. We'll get you back for the second half as we continue on the road to the Final Four.
The white zone is for immediate.
We didn't design the new Mazda MX-3 to be like apple pie. Jalapenos were what we had in mind. Because if something's not worth having an opinion about it, it's not worth having. And with the only V6 in its class, the MX-3 is one hot chili pepper. Hey, you're not John Doe. Why drive his car?
George Lynch shot. They're up by 6, 31-25. Right now, let's check in with Curry Kirkpatrick.
Vern, Alabama is not worried about Robert Horry. He looks like he's limping, but they say that's the way he walks. What they are concerned about is their rebounding. Carolina has 13 points on second shots. Alabama's got Montrose out of the game on fouls in the first half, but they're not battling enough on the boards, and that's what Wimp Sanderson told his guys. Back to you.
Okay, Curry, he talked with us the other day before the Stanford game, said of Stanford, their strength is our weakness. He was talking about rebounding. They have been out-rebounded by 8 in the first half, 23-15. From the corner, Washington, no. And there is a rebound for Cedric Moore. Sprewell 1 for 6 in the first half, 1 for 7 now. Sprewell and Robinson combined 2 for 12 at halftime from the field.
Well, Alabama has certainly labored in their half-court offense. They only shot 29% for that half. They're going to have to limit Carolina to one shot and start their fast break and create some turnovers in pressure situations to get some easy opportunities.
Here's Lynch, fouled by Robert Horry.
Alabama foul number 25, Robert Horry. That's his first personal foul. Team's first.
I don't think Lynch agreed with the call.
He hasn't agreed with very many of them out there.
He certainly hasn't. Robert Horry's first foul of the ball game. Here's Robinson. He was 1 for 6. Horry was 4 for 8. He was the only one who was hitting with any consistency. And one shot and out.
So that time on the semi-fast break, Robinson had a one-on-one situation, isolation with Derek Phelps. and he decided to back it up. I think Alabama's going to have to take more advantage. They're not going to get very much more than that in this game because Carolina gets back so well. So when they have a one-on-one situation, take advantage.
Eric Montross back in the lineup. So is Elliot Washington, both playing with 3 fouls for their respective teams. Montross for North Carolina, Washington for Alabama. Phelps. Reese with the offensive board, and it's off Alabama. Welcome those of you who've been watching the Seton Hall, Missouri game down in Greensboro. We are in Cincinnati, where Alabama trails North Carolina early moments of the second half. And it's been the North Carolina defense which has been the difference thus far.
It certainly has. The changing defense of North Carolina has forced Alabama to step back in their half-court offense and try to figure out what's going on. And they really have been off balance pretty much all afternoon. They haven't been able to get anything generated on offense.
Ori was fronting Montross that time. Got it. Got the outlet pass. And that's 14 turnovers for North Carolina. A team that has averaged only 16 per game. Nice pass underneath to Latrell Sprewell, and the shot will not go down. As hot as he was the other night, he is cold tonight, and at the other end, Davis misses. Alabama will try it in transition again. Robinson, yes, finally.
And that's what I'm talking about. You have the one-on-one situations. You got to take advantage. If you have to work so hard in the half court, take advantage of the easy one.
Underneath the Lynch. Montross, easy. He is a horse.
Yes, and he is there. And if you can find him 2 feet from the basket, give it up.
North Carolina, along with the other 3 teams, ate at a ribs restaurant here in town. I talked with the owner last night. We happened to dine there. And he said Montross the other night ate like a family of 8. There comes North Carolina again. Phelps almost got away from Reese, but he puts it off the glass and gets it in.
Well, Carolina is doing a great job of controlling the tempo. When they want to come down and play half court, run their passing game, they do it. And when they have opportunities to run, they're able to do that as well with their rebounding strength.
Montross and Washington with 3 fouls. Alabama 27% for the game. And you see the huge rebounding edge. It now stands at 10.
That 27% reflects the good Carolina defense, the changing defense.
8-point lead is the largest of the game. The only Alabama lead of the largest is 2 points. That was at 18 to 16.
We talked about how hard Alabama's had to work. They've contributed to some of that hard work by not being able to catch the ball. Instead of going after with 2 hands, they're reaching out with 1. This is a time where you have to be sure of everything, of every catch, of every pass.
Moore finds Sprewell. Carolina back in the zone. 5 on the shot clock. Sprewell. Offensive foul.
Sprewell got fouled. He got his arm knocked off. That's unbelievable.
Alabama foul number 42. That's Sprewell.
Ohio State and Connecticut meet here in the second game. The winners of the 2 advance to Lexington for the Southeast Regional next week. And, of course, the other 2 teams will come from the Atlanta games that will be played tomorrow. 16 minutes to go in the ball game. The lead is 8. Largest margin of the ball game. Davis adjusts the shot, has it fall. Double digits for the first time.
That's one of the things about Hubert Davis's game that has elevated him to that high echelon of guards in the NCAA. His ability to change directions with the ball while in the air and still get good shooting for him.
That's tipped away by George Lynch. He had 3 steals the other night and has 1 in this game. Lynch comes out to help defensively, but Washington does get it to fall. Robinson, rather. Lynch gets called for the foul. George Lynch gets the foul. Time has been called. The lead is 8 for Carolina.
Things are different. The all-new Pontiac Grand Am proves it. Things are better because this Grand Am gives you a more powerful 16-valve engine standard than either Accord or Camry.
And if fatigue does play a part, North Carolina with a decided edge, much deeper bench.
Well, certainly if this game gets closer down the stretch, the tired legs of Alabama are going to probably betray them. Carolina certainly keeps a fresh bunch of guys rotating in and out. That makes them very active defensively because that's where you expend the most energy.
Right now for Carolina, it's Rodel and Montross, Phelps, Davis, and George Lynch. Here's Robinson, 3 of 10 in the ball game now. And that'll be North Carolina's ball.
Now that short jump shot may not be indicative of being tired, but that's what happens. Your jump shot's the first thing to go when your legs are tired.
Phelps started by Washington. Alabama going for the trap. We're at Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, the first of 2 games here. Eric Montross playing with 3 fouls. No problem. And the lead is back to 10. Ohio State and the UConn coming up next. The winners of these 2 games go on to Lexington. As we're underway with our quadruple header on this Saturday. Horry fouled. Lynch.
Well, we talked about the size advantage of Carolina shuttling the 7-footers in, and Eric Montross, once again, if you can get him 2-3 feet away from the basket, you've got to find a way to get him the ball, because out here today on this floor, there's not going to be anybody to contest him.
Dean Smith getting ready to send Salvadori in for Montross. And an call for George Lynch, beg your pardon, because George Lynch just picked up his 3rd foul. So now all Alabama has to worry about is 14 feet of men in the post.
Yep. 2 guys with their hands up in the air. You talk about being tough to shoot over. I would imagine right now that Carolina's also going to play a zone. Having 2 7-footers to play an Alabama team in a matchup of man-to-man is going to be difficult for Carolina.
The well-known Redwood defense. The Sequoias. 39-30, 14-10 remaining in the game. Elliott, no, offensive foul.
I believe they called it on Kevin Salvador.
It is.
And it was because he came down to set a pick and he had his arms up around his chest, both together, and kind of pushed out when you set a pick. Extended the legal picking position.
Robinson. Sprewell spotting up at the 3-point range. He is 1 of 10 from the field. Here's Robinson. And again, the shots don't go down. Montross with the rebound. At the other end, it's Reese. 2.
We're talking about utilizing discretion, and Carolina's done a great job of it all afternoon, knowing when to run, getting the ball up court, and then pulling up for those short jump shots, which Alabama's giving them.
Horry. Sprewell finally gets one to drop. That's only his 2nd basket of the ball game.
And you just can't say it enough how much Alabama, how hard they have to work to score.
Montross is hit from behind by Robert Horry. And that will be Horry's 2nd.
Robert Horry. That's his 2nd personal foul, his 3rd.
Tournament summary so far, Arizona and Oklahoma knocked out last night. Well, Thursday, things held up to form, but Friday they certainly didn't. UNC going for its 12th. Duke is in for the 7th straight time in the Sweet 16. Duke, a convincing winner over Iowa down in Greensboro early.
Convincing? You know, I'm starting to believe maybe you ought to give Duke a couple of byes and then let them play starting in the final 8. That's how dominant they've been.
Will they win it?
Right now, I don't see anybody that's going to touch it.
Robert Horry with the shot block. Robinson comes down, back to Washington. And they got Salvadori again. So Dean Smith has 3 men with 3 fouls now. Lynch, Montross, and Salvadori, and Montross is coming back in.
You take a look at the block by Robert Horry. He's a great shot blocker. He, along with Shaquille O'Neal, are the only guys that have 100-plus blocks in a season in SEC history.
Salvadori down, Montross in. There's Robert Horry. 41-32, 12:49 remaining in the ball game. Winner goes on to Lexington. Washington, nope. Brian Reese with a rebound. Here comes North Carolina. Montross. Davis. Carolina ball. Lynch got it. Montross gives it off to Lynch. He puts it off the bar. The lead, 11. One of the problems North Carolina had in that slump at the end of the season when they lost 4 in a row. Here's Sprewell. He is 2 for 12.
That time throwing it off the opponent didn't work for Robert Horry.
That's knocked away, and here comes Alabama now. And Montross is down on the floor. Montross still down. Jason Caffey can't get the roll. It's put up and in by Robert Horry, but meantime, Eric Montross at the opposite end.
North Carolina lineup number 5, Henrik number 31, Brian Reese. For Alabama.
Didn't have a chance to see exactly what happened. We'll see it here. But it's physical inside. Robert Horry trying to make room, and he lays a mean blow on Eric Montross.
Time has been called while they tend to it. We'll be back in just a minute.
Things are different. The all-new Grand Am Sports Sedan proves it. Things are better because inside and out, the Grand Am's equipped to perform. And it even gives you better mileage than a Accord or Camry for a whole lot less. In fact, Consumers Digest named the Grand Am a Best Buy. Pontiac's new Grand Am. A new kind of excitement.
I am the greatest.
He's got a mouth that gets him in trouble.
You couldn't carry my jockstrap in a suitcase. You either smoke or you get smoked.
But he's got the moves to back it up.
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Wesley Snipes.
Sofa. See ya. Wouldn't want to be.
Woody Harrelson.
You explain to this Gladys Knight and the pimps. The pimp.
White Man Can't Jump.
Hey, man, you were almost there.
Rated R. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
This is the runaround. You get a lot of it these days instead of service. To not get the runaround, call on your Allstate agent.
Allstate?
Who promises
A tree blew down on my house.
that after talking with you about your claim,
My loblolly fine's stuck in my roof.
his claims expert will call.
Okay, I'll be right here.
Usually in an hour.
Hello? Thanks for
That's why you're in good hands with Allstate, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
Tie game. Back after this. Twist off 7-Up caps and win as the Uncola celebrates the 100th year of basketball. Collect all the 7-Up caps you can, because if you spell Y-E-A-R, you'll win a $10,000 college scholarship or win a Spalding mini basketball instantly. So collect your Uncola caps and win. 7-Up employees not eligible.
Win part of $1 million in scholarships from 7-Up, the Uncola.
Have you ever dreamed you could fly? Now, the world's greatest illusionist conquers the mystery of human flight without strings or camera tricks. An all-new Magic of David Copperfield, Tuesday, March 31st.
Eric Montross a little woozy on the bench. You can see him. He took a vicious left elbow from Robert Horry underneath. Went down, so he'll get a rest.
Boy, I tell you, you talk about working hard inside. These guys certainly have put on their blue-collar hats, that's for sure.
Rodel and Lynch are joined by Davis, Phelps, and Salvadori now for North Carolina. Darby Rich back in. Here's the steal by Robinson. North Carolina's Lynch goes back, and the shot will not fall. Altered it just enough. Nothing is working right for the Crimson Tide. They are now 4 of 17 in this half. And this is a team that is shooting 48% for the year. They were 29% at the half, and if anything, it's gotten worse. It has.
They're not able to get open shots. Carolina doing a great job on the help defense, so there's no real one-on-one play. And they've, again, labored just about every time down, forced in the half-court offense.
Finally, Robinson gets a 3, and at the other end, here comes Rodel. Offensive foul. Darby Rich took the charge. Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati. North Carolina leading Alabama 43-37. Eric Montross, despite the wooziness, back in the lineup and also playing with 3 fouls. Mentioned, Len, that one of the things North Carolina had been susceptible to was three-point shooting. Their defense against the perimeter, not that good during that losing streak. But Alabama now only 3 three-pointers in the ballgame. They're 3 of 14.
And really, Carolina hasn't defended the three-pointer today because they haven't had to. Alabama not really able to hit anything.
There's an example. Sprewell, who is now 2 of 14. Davis at the other end. Nope. Well, if Alabama's going to get back in, they need to make it happen right about now.
And the pace is picked up, and this is in Alabama's favor.
Bingo. Darby Rich chases it down. Underneath, Jason Caffey, no. Rich still working hard. And he hit his head on the chair. Wow. Hard-working fifth-year senior.
You talk about thinking what the consequences of losing this basketball game is. Darby Rich says it's not going to be because he hasn't worked hard.
43-37, 9:27 to go. An Alabama team that has never lost a second-round game under Rick Sanderson against a North Carolina team going for its 12th consecutive trip to the Sweet 16. Montross, double team from Rich. And despite that,
that's a good, strong move by Eric Montross. He turned to find out what the defenses were doing and saw an opening. And with his size, he's taking it to the hoop.
45-37, under 9 minutes remaining. Horry, nope.
Once again, watch him turn to see what the defenses are doing. Looking for somebody, sees the daylight, makes his own daylight, actually. Little payback to Robert Horry.
It was those ribs last night. The second player. 45-37, 8:53 remaining in the ball game. Texas Tech losing to Santa Clara. Tech defeated the University of Texas in the Southwest Conference in the women's tournament. Of course, the women's championship in Los Angeles in 2 weeks here on CBS. Davis.
Alabama's picked up the defensive pressure. They can't do it that whole half because they don't have the depth to sustain it. They're going to get some guys very fatigued, but they have to do something to start a comeback.
Reese tripped and marvelously held on to the ball. No traveling call. And North Carolina still in possession. 8 on the shot clock, however. Phelps, air ball. Good job by Robert Horry, who was in a battle with Montross.
And they're still playing with each other, hands and elbows. The officials are going to start watching, and George Lynch tries to get involved in the matter too, and he gets called.
And that's 4 on Lynch.
North Carolina foul number 34, George Lynch.
So that'll bring Pat Sullivan into the lineup quickly. Now, what do they lose, Lenny? Sullivan for Lynch.
Well, they're going to lose another good post player in George Lynch, a mobile post player. Horry and Montross right there are still involved. And Eric Montrose has a point that Robert Horry using his elbows more than his body. Officials have to clean that one up.
Sprewell, deadly from the field today, hasn't hit anything. And that one doesn't go. Has to hurry back and try and do it on defense. Scoop shot by Davis, no good. Reese knocked away by Horry. And it's a 4-on-2 break. Sprewell, Rich, Robinson. Hubert Davis is limping.
Alabama's favor, and they've been doing it defensively. You see Hubert Davis with the miss and a nice block by Robert Horry. And as Alabama goes on the other end, they go Hollywood. That's James Hollywood Robinson.
And the 11-point lead for North Carolina down to 5. Hubert Davis on the bench with a twisted ankle. And that one thrown away. 20 turnovers for North Carolina. Montrose. Latrell Sprewell. They can cut it to 3 or 2.
And as we've seen the tide of this game shift, as I mentioned before, the tempo has shifted. The quick pace now is in Alabama's favor. They'd much rather play this transition game.
Jason Caffey, Darby Rich. Pat Sullivan gets the rebound, though.
But it's all to naught if they can't put any shots down.
Well, they're still hitting only 27% of the game. 15 of 57. Hendrick Roder lead back to 7.
And I'll tell you, the years when I played the ACC, played against Carolina, and watching them over the years, it's plays like those that are momentum killers. The other team gets some momentum, and Carolina lulls you and goes back door and scores, and it takes the crowd right out of the game.
Robinson has it rim out. Here's Phelps, wait from the bench on Hubert Davis, a sprained left ankle. It's being retaped. And an elbow thrown Robert Horry. Hubert Davis is expected back in the lineup. They got an elbow thrown by Robert Horry. That's his third. There's the ankle. Injured on the drive in that wacky sequence when Robert Horry, not wacky, but significant sequence when Robert Horry got the block and then Robinson the three-pointer.
So taking a look at that ankle, I hope that's tape and not swelling.
Ooh, that does look swollen, doesn't it?
And as I said, I hope it's tape.
Foul was on Horry. 15th foul. So non-shooting. Reese taken away, almost. Lynch saves it. He's playing with 4 fouls. Robinson, 4 on to the year.
Alabama foul number 31, James Robinson.
We're in Cincinnati at Riverfront Coliseum, second round game. Alabama, North Carolina, an 11-point lead for North Carolina, cut to 5. In a flurry from the 9-minute mark until now, Alabama did pick up the pace during that time.
They've been able to do it by applying pressure to North Carolina, creating some turnovers, and getting back defensively to stop those controlled Carolina breaks. But North Carolina has pretty much killed the momentum now with some good backdoor plays that makes the defense just shake his head in exasperation.
Started by Sprewell. And this time they got Cedric Moore, number 51. And a technical foul, I believe, may have been called on Robert Horry. Let's see. Yes.
You know, the play of this game has been so physical inside. Horry has slammed Montrose with elbows, and Carolina's been knocking a few of the Alabama players around. But one thing you have to do is keep your head in this basketball game. Robert Horry knows better. You see the physical nature. Montrose almost like a pinball, bouncing off one Alabama man after another.
There's one. He gets another.
But this guy has got to realize the import of this basketball game. You can't let your emotions get away from you.
There's 2. And now the technical. Let's go down to Curry Kirkpatrick.
Vern, last week in the finals of the Southeastern Conference Tournament in Birmingham in a tight game between Kentucky and Alabama, Robert Horry turned the game around himself. He had an intentional foul and a technical foul. He's known for this his career. He's an explosive player, and he just has been unable to keep his temper in bounds. That game turned the Southeastern Conference Championship last week.
Well, this one may be even more significant, Curry. Davis gets 2 more. Horry gets the rest, mandated by Wimp Sanderson. And the lead is back to 11 just like that. .51-40 after 2 free throws from Eric Montross and the foul by Cedric Moore, and then after the technical on Horry, 2 more free throws. 6 points in a row now have increased a 6-point lead back to the 11 for North Carolina, the largest of the game.
Well, it's been a game where North Carolina has really kept the Alabama offense off balance. And just in this half, when Alabama seemed to have solved the problem that they had, Carolina comes back with a couple of momentum-killing plays, and then Robert Horry loses his composure and gets some technical calls on him. And right back to 11-point lead is Carolina.
Hubert Davis is going to get a rest. We understand they're having technical difficulties in Greensboro. An absence of picture again. They had the lightning storms on Thursday, so we'll get you, those of you who are watching the Seton Hall, Missouri game, we will get you back to Greensboro as soon as those technical difficulties have been corrected. In the meantime, 4:40 remaining in this game and an 11-point lead. Robert Horry on the bench with a technical foul. Now, Thursday night, there was an arena problem with the lightning storms. This time, it's a television technical problem. Robert Horry lets it go. He is back in the lineup now. So it's Horry, Sprewell, Robinson with the steal. That's 22 North Carolina turnovers. But really, despite that sloppy play, Alabama hasn't converted that many points off the turnovers. This time they get 2.
In this last 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Alabama's going to have to rise or fall on the play of James Robinson. Offensively, I look for him to get a lot more freedom to make something happen. He's an explosive scorer. He needs to work.
Now there's a foul called on Cedric Moore. That's his second. Coming up in Boise later on, Louisiana State and Indiana.
I'll tell you, in that game, if Shaquille O'Neal alters shots like he did against Brigham Young, 11 blocks in that game, if he can do that against Indiana and offensively, when he catches, turns, and watches the defense and is able to pass and pick them apart, you'll see an LSU win.
Last time those 2 teams met in the NCAA tournament was right here, 1987. There's a phone that still hasn't been fixed over on the scores bench. Air ball. Horry saves it. Nicely done. Moore fighting with Montross inside. Boy, they're really banging. That shot short. Jason Gaffey tries to save it. Moore. That's 4 fouls on Eric Montross.
Well, it may be a case of going at Montross a little bit too late. But what happens is Robinson shot that air ball, and his teammates never looked for him again. He went to the other side, and they kept the ball opposite him. And I think you got to have confidence in a guy that scores like a James Robinson. You got to give him the confidence as well. If you don't go to him after he misses a shot like that, he's going to lose his confidence.
Cedric Moore goes to the free throw line. Hubert Davis checks back in with a noticeable limp. That's the lead to 8. 3:41 still. Boy, that was a near lane violation by Robert Horry. It was not called. The basket does count, and time has been called.
Yo, sit back here back with the outside game. I got Dan and Dave, the world's 2 greatest athletes, taking them outside. I want you to meet some of my homies here, man. Yo, Mr. Big, T-Bone, Big Way. top shoe. We don't need anything else, man. Yo, man, can I get the ball? I just touched the ball. I got the greatest athlete in the world. I got the greatest athlete in the world. Reebok, black top, built for the outside. I'm ready to play. Y'all ready to play? Let's play.
Good time, good friends. Hey, they're special. Sometimes you wish they would never end. The care you show is just special. Friends know when to say when.
The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to please use the designated driver, it's all in the name of friendship.
Friends know when to say when.
Sunbathing by Sun Chips. Sun Chips multigrain snacks. A little sun never tasted so good.
Right now at Pizza Hut, get a Supreme Pizza loaded with 6 delicious toppings like mouth-watering pepperoni and green peppers. Call Pizza Hut Delivery and get a medium Supreme for $7.99 and any other medium for just $4 more. Call now.
It didn't happen in Germany, nor in Japan. It happened right here.
And Wimp Sanderson's team continues to shoot poorly. They have hit 7 of 30 in this half.
After mounting a furious comeback, you got to wonder how much energy Alabama has to sustain that defensively. That's where their legs are going to go.
They were down by 11 at the 9-minute mark. They cut that to 5, and then a backdoor play quieted the crowd, put Carolina out by 7. And here's Robinson for 2 more. And then after the backdoor cut by Henrik Rodel, Montross hit 2 free throws, and Robert Horry called for a technical foul. Those 6 points in succession reestablished an 11-point North Carolina lead. It's now 7, 53-46. Understand we're still having technical problems down in Greensboro, Seton Hall and Missouri underway. And as soon as those technical difficulties are corrected, we'll deliver that audience that was involved in Seton Hall, Missouri, back to that game.
You know, Alabama, with their lack of depth right now, they have to come out here and sustain their defense, which means expending an awful lot of energy. Carolina's going to play the clock out and do exactly that, either draw the foul or look for the layup.
That's the 3rd foul on James Robinson. Seton Hall up by 15 midway through the second half. Henrik Rodel and Pat Sullivan check back in. Hubert Davis trying to go with a very sore left ankle. Will get a rest. Connecticut, Seton Hall, Ohio State, our second game. Alabama, North Carolina underway right now. The winners of these 2 games advance to Lexington. The other 2 teams in Lexington will come out of the Southeast region in Atlanta. Those games will be played tomorrow. Michigan will take on East Tennessee State, and then Tulane against Oklahoma State. Hubert Davis getting a rest. 16 points in the ballgame.
Davis is getting a rest on the defensive end. You can bet that if necessary, Carolina's going to put him back on the offensive end. With that sprained ankle, they still need his presence out there offensively.
2.5 to go. The lead is 9. The Tar Heels trying to go to the Sweet 16 for the 12th consecutive year. Robinson. Yes!
You got to go to him.
6-point edge. Moore trying to help defensively, and there's the open man.
Spread the floor, move the ball. That's what Carolina's known for in these last couple of minutes with a lead. It's hard to beat them.
Another 3-pointer. Well, Webb Sanderson will like to exchange 3 for 2 for the rest of the game, but he's only got 1:39 left. 9 seconds remaining, a 5-point North Carolina edge. Alabama has 2 timeouts remaining. North Carolina has 3, and there's a foul after the inbounds play. That's 4 fouls on Elliot Washington. And Eric Montross will check back in. He is playing with 4 fouls. So also is George Lynch, and they're both going to come. Nope, it's going to be Brian Reese also checking in for North Carolina.
Well, what Wim Sanderson seems to have done is decided that he's going to try to trade 3 for 2. That foul was the 10th Alabama team foul. That makes each free throw line trip 2 shots for North Carolina now. And so he wants to foul quickly to give him time for more opportunities at the 3.
Derek Phelps. This is the second game of our quadruple header on CBS. Connecticut, Ohio State coming up here 30 minutes after this game. Also this afternoon, Memphis State, Arkansas, Georgetown, and Florida State. That game from Boise. Got 1 of 2. Robinson has 20 points in this half, and he's hit 4 3-pointers. He's got the ball now. There's the trap from Montross.
Well, you can see they have some guys right around the 3-point line just daring Alabama to shoot, and Alabama falls right in the trap.
Robert Horry draws the foul. That's 4 fouls on Robert Horry. Again, Seton Hall leading Missouri 68-57. 6:55 to go. And again, a reminder that we will be sending those of you who were watching that game back to Greensboro as soon as our technical problems are corrected. Derek Phelps back at the line.
We take a look at the 3-point field goal. Carolina's 3-point field goal defense has been their biggest problem this year. But today they've done an excellent job of covering that line, and you combine that with Alabama's ice-cold shooting. And that's why Alabama's pretty much in a hole. They decided they were going to take a lot of 3-pointers today. They just didn't put them down.
Lowest figure for Alabama this season. Field goal percentage, 34. Today they're shooting 29%. And the Carolina Tar Heels get the ball back. 1:15 remaining. Cedric Moore with a foul. And Brian Reese will go to the free throw line.
Well, Brian Reese on the season was a 77% free throw shooter. You know, the guys that you want to try and foul are Eric Montross and Henrik Rodel of the guys who are out there on the floor.
Duke won earlier today. They are in the Sweet 16. Either North Carolina or Alabama will be the second team to join them. And Wim Sanderson looks on as Brian Reese takes 2. Connecticut, Ohio State coming up here. And the winner will join either Alabama or North Carolina in Lexington next week. 61-52, 75 seconds to go. Elliot Washington brings it up. Here's Robinson. Roller Phelps. I think he's drawing a crowd. Back it comes to Horry. Over Reese. Yes! Timeout called by Alabama. Lead is 6. 61-55, but less than a minute remains.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm not a real doctor, but if I were, I'd recommend ligament for occasional muscle pain.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going.
5 hours in a balloon, how romantic.
5 hours? What about my diarrhea?
Don't worry, honey. I brought the...
Taking the team into the NCAA tournament that has not gotten to the Sweet 16. This be the time. George Lynch. And the lead is 8. Robinson. Hubert Davis is fouled in the backcourt by Latrell Sprewell. And on the other side of the ledger, Dean Smith has been to the Sweet 16 12 times in a row. Welcome those of you who are just joining us. North Carolina leading Alabama 63-55. 46 seconds remaining in the ball game. And it's been a free throw shooting brigade here in the final couple of minutes for the Tar Heels. Hubert Davis finally misses.
Well, I tell you, you have to give a lot of credit to the North Carolina defense that kept Alabama off balance all day.
That really was the key, particularly the first 30 minutes of the ball game.
It was the changing defenses.
Right. Hubert Davis misses and travels with the ball. 23 turnovers now for North Carolina. The lead is a 63-55, under 45 seconds to go. And if North Carolina advances, it'll be 12 in a row in the Sweet 16. Sprewell has had a horrid day shooting the ball. Horry, Taylor by shot is short. And another foul at the other end. This on Washington. That's 5. So Elliot Washington will foul out of the ball game. The junior from Bradenton, Florida. And Darby Rich will come back in for the final 25 seconds of the ball game. Elliot Washington, who was the hero of the win over Arkansas in the SEC tournament, that three-pointer with 2 seconds to go that gave Alabama the victory. Seton Hall continues to lead Missouri. Reese at the line.
One shot.
For Brian Reese, and they get the ball back. Montross knocked it out. So it's going to be North Carolina joining Duke in the round of 16 in the NCAA tournament. The last time they were defeated in this level was in 1980 by Texas A&M in double overtime. This will be 12 years in succession in their 18th straight NCAA tournament. No basket. The final 64-55. Dean Smith's team advances to Lexington. And they are 23-9 on the season. North Carolina, the 4th seed, beats Alabama by 9. Connecticut, Ohio State coming up here in about 30 minutes. Right now, let's go back to our New York studios. James Robinson, Hubert Davis, the Chevy players of the game.
12 straight years, as they mentioned, to the Sweet 16. Billy, put that in perspective.
Well, I don't know if anybody, and I don't think they'll ever top John Wooden's 7 in a row for national championships, but I don't know if anybody's ever going to get the 12 Sweet 16s again.
Wait, Duke's already halfway there. They got 6.
Yeah, 12. They got 6, that's all.
That's like Greg Kubek. You said no one would ever make it to 4 straight Final Fours.
Hey, Leitner didn't make it yet.
Leitner could do it this year. All right, the story in Greensboro right now is Seton Hall 74, Missouri 61. They just now move inside of 5 minutes to go. 13-point lead for the Pirates. And that's Missouri in the gold uniforms, a steal by Karnisovas. We have lost our audio feed from the site. We've lost all line of communication, for that matter, with our production truck in Greensboro, so we're calling it from here.
Jim, I have a big question on this. Do we get both studio pay and play-by-play pay if we're doing both the game and the studio? I mean, Al McGuire would ask for that in his contract.
I'm surprised you don't have that one covered.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the fine print.
With your history, I'll let you negotiate for me, though. I'll promise you that.
Mike, this is your first shot at play-by-play.
That's it. 3 in the booth.
Foul against Smith, hacking DeHare.
The key in this ball game has been the fact that I think Seton Hall has just had superior size on the inside and just wore down Missouri.
And Billy, you know what they really did? Second half, did a tremendous job second half of just turning Missouri over in their half-court pressure defense. They're a very good defensive ball club.
So DeHare to the line. And from New York to Greensboro we go with the audio. We patched it together with Mel Proctor and Dan Bonner. Take it away, gentlemen.
Terry DeHare now has 18 points. He had 24 in the first round victory over LaSalle, including the game winner with 1.8 seconds left.